Welcome to the Start Strong, Finish Strong podcast with Greg Weiss. In this episode, I sat down with Karen Rybczynski, who is responsible for all HR matters for one of the largest RSL clubs and employers in Australia, namely the Canterbury Hurlstone Park RSL Club and its broader group. I was keen to chat with Karen as she and her employer have been on the front line of the impact of the pandemic, being in the clubs and events industry, as well as being an RTO. With that introduction, let's get into it. Hi there, and I'm Greg Weiss, and here's another podcast episode of the Start Strong, Finish Strong podcast with me, Greg Weiss, and today I've got Karen Rybczynski with me, who is the head of HR for the Canterbury Hurlstone Park RSL group. And I wanted to talk to Karen today about a whole lot of things, but if there's one particular industry group that has been hit by COVID, it's really been the club scene. And I thought, who better to be my guest today than the head of HR of arguably Australia's top one or two largest clubs. And so over to you, Karen. Nice to have you on the show.
Hi, Greg. Thank you so much for having me. Look, it's an honour to be a part of this podcast. So big shout out to everyone who is listening. But yeah, we've definitely been through an interesting change. I think it's the easiest thing to call it.
Yes.
Ever since I guess COVID, the magic word of 2020.
Yes.
So that it has definitely brought a different light to the way that we run our club. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Karen's in the club at the moment. I'm operating from my home studio. So for anybody who's watching, you'll see the differences there. But I thought it's always a good place to start, and that is just a little bit about you, and a little bit about your story. How did you end up at Canterbury Hurlstone Park RSL Group?
Yeah, well, first of all, I never would have thought that I would even be head of HR in any business. Starting off in hospitality was just something that I wanted to do from turning 18, and I guess it was just a natural progression for me. I fell into the role really easily. Operationally, I could do everything. I was very lucky in all of the places that I've worked in. Started off as just a part-time bar attendant. Getting back into the swing of things, having run pubs for quite a long period of time before I came here. And it wasn't long after my start here that I got into becoming a supervisor. And one of the very cool things about CHP, I won't say the whole name, but CHP RSL, is that we're the only club in New South Wales that has a registered training organisation where we provide training in hospitality, leadership and management, team building, and it was through there that I was able to get a lot of my qualifications, and it was through there that I was able to identify that there were other paths for me. And I was very fortunate to have our CEO, who's still here with us, who's still our CEO now, to have given me all of those opportunities, and I have progressed into this role now. And it's through this club that I've been able to achieve all of that.
Well, seeing that you started at 18,
yeah,
and it's only been very, she's only 23 now. Okay.
And I achieved it all in 5 years. It was amazing.
It's incredible. It's incredible, really incredible. Absolutely amazing. So
I'll pay you later, Greg.
That's right. There you go. So Karen, not everybody knows what an RSL is because we do have an international audience.
Okay.
And so let's explain what an RSL is and what an RSL club is.
Sure. So we are actually a very proud, all RSL clubs are very proud owners of an RSL club, but RSL stands for Return Services League. Basically, we opened our doors back in 1947, and the whole purpose for that was to provide a space for those soldiers who did return from war. So you can imagine in 1947 what was going on in those times. And it was a place where it allowed, all of those returned soldiers to get together. And it was also a place for the partners of those who were abroad, or the family who were abroad, and representing our country, were able to create groups in order to get people together and start, sending packages over to our veterans. And this space became that initially, and from there it's grown. So an RSL club is pretty much owned by our members. While we have a CEO, he doesn't own any of the club. It is owned by our members, and so that's what's really important to us. That community base, or that community model, is the reason why we do what we do and why we've been so successful over the last 70 years. And we've grown it since then. So with RSL, we pay a lot of tribute to like Remembrance Day, which was just on the 11th of November, Anzac Day. We've got a lot of what's called sub clubs. So a lot of those sort of little affiliates that we create, through our sub branch, who pretty much put all of these sort of working groups together. So again, providing that service for our members and for their visitors. That's the main focus. And our job is to ensure that everything that we do as a business caters to the needs of our members. So everything that we do, every type of any revenue stream that we have, our focus is giving back to our members. So whether that be through the offers, whether that be through community initiatives, through funding, or even just rebuilding the club so that they have all the facilities that they want, it all goes back to them. And that's I think that's probably the proudest thing that we could do here as an RSL club. So it's very unique compared to other clubs or other like pubs or hotels. We do things a little bit differently.
And it's an important thing, because central to being a club in a community is the social license to operate, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's membership requirements and all of those sorts of things. Any club or pub or within New South Wales in particular would be able to provide the exact same things that we provide, such as food, beverage, and all of those other things that we offer. However, what makes us unique is what it is that we offer within our community. So, attending to those things just to make sure that our community are getting what they want and that they're not going anywhere else, but they're coming to us. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just curious, in terms of the CHPRSL, okay, we've established it's got a very important position within the community. How did it get to that particular point?
A lot of that comes from what it is that we're required to do as a registered club. So there's a lot of regulations and legislation that lies around how it is that we operate, and ensuring that everything that we do is through our members, and making sure that they have a say as to how it is that we run our club. So a lot of work. Recently we just had our annual general meeting, which happens every year, and again, that focus is reaching out to our community, getting that membership across, and letting them have their say, and making sure that we're delivering on everything that it is that they want.
Okay. And so we started today's podcast talking about the word of the year, COVID times.
Yeah.
So what's it been like being in HR, being in the club? Tell me about that experience. What's been going on?
Look, I think if it's not the word COVID, it's the word challenge or challenging that everyone seems to associate with COVID.
Or pivot.
Yeah. And and look, to say that it's been challenging is, I think it's become it doesn't even hold its meaning anymore. The word challenge has just completely changed, the way that we think, the way that we do things, the way that we respond. But there's definitely been some really positive sort of learnings and outcomes based on the challenge that we face. We've had to make some pretty serious decisions, to work best for the club and for our community. And with that has come with a lot of support, both from our members and from our team members as well. So the biggest challenge has just been adapting to a sudden change. Since we've opened our doors in 1947, we have never had to shut our doors down. And we look back and we laugh at it now, but we literally did not know what key was required in order to physically lock the building up, because we've never had to do it.
Wow.
We've always been staffed 24/7, and we still are to this day. So we never knew what it was like. So to physically do that was quite hard for all of us to actually admit to and be a part of. Emotionally dealing with the fact that it was through no one's fault at all as to the reasons why we had to close our doors, and that it was happening globally, and that we were in this position of being shut down, and we shut down our doors like every other hospitality industry on the 23rd of March. And to think that was only 7 months ago, 7 or 8 months ago.
8 months, 8 months,
It just feels like it happened so long ago. It's just too hard to believe that, it's all happened. So, dealing with those challenges and dealing with the fact of the unknown, having to unfortunately stand down 220 employees, most of them who you've worked with for your entire time that, you've been here. We have some team members who have been here who've been a team member for over 40 years.
Huge.
It's huge.
Yes.
So to have gone through that process and to have had to have said the words, our CEO in particular, or all of us, we're including our board of directors, were so emotional with the fact that we had to shut down, and the unknown in March to us was just, well, what do we do? What does this mean for us? And
Karen, so what did it mean? I mean, if I can get into just cast you back into March, because it was a crazy time. No one knew what was going on. We didn't know how long this was going to last. We still don't know how long this is going to last. Although this week, when I'm recording this is when Pfizer and Moderna have announced vaccines that seem to be promising. Let's cast our minds back to late March when this happened. You have to stand down 220 people. What was going in your mind and in the senior leadership of the group at this particular point?
Look, it was heartbreaking. The fact that, we're located, this club in particular is located in the inner west, so we're very close to the city, but we do have a club that's located in our Southern Highlands, so it's about an hour away from here. And we had just dealt with the impacts of the bushfires back in January, where our club over at Bargo Sports Club was an evacuation center, was a place for everyone to reside in, because so many people lost their homes, and lost more than just their home. So we were catering to that, and we were dealing with that. And it was during that time actually that we heard about the case in Wuhan, and we were getting ourselves prepared, but to think that it was actually going to hit us and to the point of us shutting down, it was heartbreaking. The words that we had to say, and physically going through the motions of telling someone that they had to be stood down, and that we didn't know when things were going to change. Look, it put a lot of things into perspective, but at the same time, it also allowed us to see just how much of a community we really are, and just how close we are, both with our members and their family, and also with our team members and their family, and ensuring that everyone was okay. And I remember the day when we had to shut our doors at 12 o'clock on the 23rd of March. And, the staff who were on that day, we all were just together, and we all were still positive at the time as to, even though we didn't know what was going to happen, we were all still supportive of one another. Look, there was a lot of tears, definitely, but we were all there for each other. And, we made a strong vow to make sure that we committed to our members as well in our community, because they would be relying heavily on us when, we see those people on a regular basis, and to tell them that, they couldn't visit us for a while would have been really hard for them as well.
Yes. And so there were some difficult decisions, stand downs and the like. And then just fast forward to the point where you then were able to reopen the doors. I'm just curious, what was that like?
Well, that was interesting, because again, we kept essential staff on during that shutdown period, which wasn't many. And obviously it happened, but we only got, I think we got about 9 days from our premier to advise us that we can open our doors on the 1st of June. And it meant, with all of these restrictions, so we honestly didn't know what to expect. Our main aim was to make sure that whatever it is that we did when we did open our doors on the 1st of June was that we were safe in everything that we did, that the place that we once were pre-COVID was still the same place for our members, yet we did it all with safety as our highest priority. And that's something that we're really proud of, the efforts that we put into ensuring that every box was ticked in accordance with the restrictions that were given to us. We put a lot of effort into that. So there was a lot of work. We were getting ready. We were starting to build a very mini workforce, and we didn't even know what that would look like. At that time we still couldn't have gaming machines in operation from memory, and if we did, we were only limited to about 50 people in the building anyway, when we've had thousands of people walk through the building at the one given time.
Huge scale difference. Thousands to 50. Yeah.
Absolutely huge. And so I think we brought back maybe about 10 people.
Wow.
So yeah, that was different for us, but we were excited, but we were also just prepared to know that with all the changes, that it's not going to be the same. And that's something that hit us relatively quickly, that things are not going to be the way that they were. And we have to adapt to this change, and we have to be positive and look forward to, what it is that we can deliver, again, knowing that community is our number one, priority, and their safety. So yeah, we sent out messages. We obviously told everyone that we were open, but we also encouraged people to remain safe. So if that meant staying at home for them, well, then that's what we encouraged. We put a lot of work into ensuring that our processes were good, that our staff, that our team members were in a position to feel comfortable with this new norm. So yeah, there was a lot of work there, and there's a lot of, I guess, almost pressure as well, just because we wanted it to work. We wanted to make sure that everything that we did was right, so that restrictions would still continue to ease, in the long term, and that we weren't the cause of any, large gatherings or anything like that, as you've seen in the media of other establishments, encouraging that. So we wanted to make sure that we did everything by the book, and which we did. So we're very proud of everything and that we've done, and all the processes and the safety elements that we put into place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you is the values of community involvement, of membership responsibility, of responsibility to the staff, but your values were also very heavily around safety and social responsibility.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. It was huge for us, and it still is, and it always has been. And again, just highly proud of the fact that we've been able to do that. I mean, during our closing period, we were actually we provided space for New South Wales Health to be able to conduct a drive-through COVID testing as well.
Oh, wow.
So again, just something that we were really happy to be a part of, knowing that we were assisting within the local community and we were being a service to them because we could. So we were really happy with that. So yeah, that was just one of the other things that we were able to do as well.
Amazing. So you said earlier that you've learned a lot and the team's learned a lot.
Yeah.
What would be the things that you'd highlight that you'd learned an enormous amount about, and that you might be able to share with other clubs and other organisations that are listening to this podcast?
I think what we learned mostly is that no matter what came our way, we worked together in trying to work it all out. We communicated as effectively as we could based on the information that we knew. We worked together to really understand what it is that we could and couldn't do. And we made that effort to ensure that whatever it is that we did offer, again, was safe. And, at the same time, we still had a business to run. So we still had to make money. It wasn't just about, opening our doors and giving away, free anything. We still had to run a business, because effectively we want to remain here, and we don't want to shut down our doors again for any reason. So we had to make those decisions, and we had to be really strict about it. And it was hard because what we're used to pre-COVID was, let's do this, let's open this up, let's sell this, and all these ideas started coming back again. And, you know, that hype and that excitement of opening our doors, you know, just came back because, you know, we're all just so enthusiastic about what it is that we do. And so we had to sort of pause for a moment and reflect and go, hang on a minute, the world's changed completely. You know, is this the right thing? So we've definitely had to learn about our own operating styles, how we make decisions on certain offers. What are we going to do? What's our, you know, strategy for if it doesn't work? And, you know, are we just going to turn everything on, you know, straight away? And is that going to be beneficial for us? And, you know, are we going to be a successful business having done all of these things? So we learned to slow down, which is very hard for us. We're a fast-paced hospitality industry. We don't like slowing down. It's not in our DNA. So that took a lot of time, and that it stuffed us up a little bit with the way that we work operationally and how we think and how we put things forward. But we were able to put all of our sort of ideas and thoughts together and then really take the time to make those decisions. Go, okay, hang on, let's just stop, let's think, let's reflect. We also looked at it as an opportunity. You know, what can we start doing differently now that's going to work for the way that this new norm is now? And how is it, you know, and then if it doesn't work, we can always just turn it back off and then start something else. So we started to become a little bit more risky as well, and started to take chances, and that worked for us as well, because we started to think of things that, you know, we couldn't do before, and said, hey, why not? Let's give it a go. And touch wood, it's worked in our favor. All of those steps that we've taken, we've learnt from it, we've reflected, we've measured, evaluated, and, you know, we've gone ahead. So it's been good.
It's great. So
yeah,
just on that, I mean, is there something that that if you can share an innovation that you've now brought in that just to that last point that you made?
Well, actually, it's a very simple model. But what we used to have, so unfortunately, we no longer have entertainment. So we used to be well known for our holding entertainment here at CHP in particular, because of the size of our auditorium, but because of large, but because of large gatherings, we're not in a position to do that. So we had to make a whole series of changes to that, you know, to our offer. And what it meant for us was we actually started subtracting a lot of our offers. So if we look at 2019, for example, we had all of these offers that were on the table that was for our membership base, and we had to actually go back to zero. So we've used this sort of this little very simple formula of 0 + 1. So what is 0? 0 is our core offer, being food and beverage, gaming, obviously, and then being our main offer. And then what's our +1? What's going to drive the business? What's going to drive our community? What's going to increase our revenue if we +1 just for now? Yeah. And let's look at that. So we were able to really see different data, different results as to what +1 meant to us. And did it mean a +2 as well? Can we add a new component or a new pillar on top or a new offer? And did it work? How long does it work for? You know what? Take it away and let's stick with 0 again, and let's +1, you know, for another item. So, yeah,
nice.
So that was a pretty cool little thing that that sort of evolved just because of the conditions that we were under.
Yeah.
And we feel that it's worked really well for us. You know,
so it's paring things back, you know, just reflecting on what you're saying. And it's a common theme, which is COVID has made us all slow down and reflect and get to the core of things. And so I really like that idea of the core +1, just a little bit, something, not +10, not +20, not all the razzmatazz. It's, I guess you could call it essentialism, just getting down to the essential stuff and to see if there's just a little bit extra you can offer to your members. You and I started to interact with each other when you had to make some tough decisions about letting some people go. And it's never an easy thing. And but we started to work with each other on that and supporting some of the people that had moved on. And I'm just curious, whilst it's a difficult topic to talk about, can I just get into your heart and your head about those stand downs that then moved into, I'm sorry, we don't have a job anymore?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah. Look, it was, again, upon reflection, the whole stand down movement, if we can call it that, was horrible. And to be honest, back in March, I thought that was going to be the hardest thing, the hardest decision that we had to make. As it came to us opening, as it came to us realizing that, we don't know when is the next time we'll see 1,000 people walk through the building. So we had to adapt to the fact that we had, less people walking through the door. So because of that, it meant that our offers changed and our operations changed. And as a result, because of the things that we couldn't offer to our members anymore, it did mean the review of our current structure. And it wasn't just here at CHP, it impacted us at all of our sites, all of our hospitality sites. And it became this conversation that ideally no one wanted to talk about, because we do consider ourselves a family, and when you have to make decisions about roles and why they're not required, and the fact that it's not because of anything else other than the fact that the world's just changed in the way that we operate. And again, we have a business to run, that we had to be very, very realistic about those decisions. And when it came to it, it was reviewing our entire organizational structure and making a decision on where we were moving, not just through COVID, but post-COVID as well, as to how it is that we're going to adapt in this new norm. And, when you hear of things of like large gatherings not being allowed in, certain places for at least 12 months and all those sorts of things, you start to have to put a line through certain things, going, well, we're not going to be able to do that anymore. And we have to be realistic about it, and unfortunately we're going to have to let some people go. So look, it was a long process, and I wasn't aware, to be honest, because I've never had to go through it myself. I wasn't aware of the kind of support that was on offer, and with you in particular, with Career 365, and what it is that's out there, when we had to make the decision of letting people go, knowing that there were options and opportunities for them, knowing that there was still that offer that was there, knowing that there was still some support, because unfortunately we couldn't provide the support anymore. Unfortunately, we did have to go through quite a large restructure. So our workforce has reduced quite significantly across our group. And they were hard decisions. We had, team members who had been working with us for over 35 years, who taught me a lot of what I know. So having to have those conversations were difficult. But I guess, if anything, the positive that came out of that was just the understanding and the support, knowing that it was life. It was because of the pandemic, and it was because of that it had impacted their role, that the process was very, very hard. But at the end of it, the support that we got, the understanding that we got, it really helped us, I guess, sort of close off that chapter, and know that we did the best that we could under the conditions. It was definitely difficult, but it was very supportive.
And I can hear this, actually, Karen, because it's for the audience, what we can do is we can see here a caring, capable human resources professional who's been at the pointy end of the impact of COVID. If there's not one industry that has had it worse, it's this particular one. And I can see that what Karen's doing is expressing, a real heart here, and also around a conflict of values where you had to let people go from an organisation that is community based, and people have stayed on and on for a long time. So I can hear that within you, and I can see that actually for those that are able to watch this within your face. Difficult times. Can I ask you, just in terms of, as things may be starting to sprout a little bit early, how does what's 2021 looking like for the group?
Look, 2021 is, again, massive focus on community. So through what we do, we have we have a lot of alliances with local schools, sporting groups. We leverage our registered training organisation as well as an offer there, where we've helped quite a lot of schools, quite a lot of unemployed people regain their confidence and get back into the field, whether that be through us, of getting employment through us in the past, but also helping them get work elsewhere. So again, we definitely want to re-establish all of that, but with a new focus on what I guess society has taught us in terms of the change. So much has changed, so much in the way that we do our things. I mean, virtual podcasts, I'm sure, have skyrocketed through the roof, because there are so many people who aren't able to meet face to face. So changing those things, or looking at those things and what it is that we can offer as best as we can. Obviously with the focus on our community. Look, a big focus on our people. You can imagine that we've just gone through this restructure and had to let go of quite a few employees, but we failed to remember about those who are still here and who are impacted from seeing it actually happen. So there's a lot of work there that needs to be put back into our people, and that's one of a big thing. It's a big thing for me for 2021, is rebuilding that, regaining I guess that level of trust, because you can't help it. I'm sure that every staff member was worried during that time frame as to the security of their position here, when they knew it was happening. And now that we've, I guess, decreased our workforce, or at the workforce that suits our new working model, it's about regaining that confidence, that productivity, rebuilding our values again. I mean, our mission is simple. Our mission is proud to belong, and that's something, again, that's just it's so true to our board of directors, our executive team, and our SLT, our senior leadership team. It wasn't that long ago that we had a strategy meeting to say, does proud to belong still work for us, and our why and our purpose? And we believe that it does, because every single person that is here, and respectfully, those who we did unfortunately have to let go, they were all of us are proud to belong here. We wouldn't want to be anywhere else, because of what it is that we do. And we're very positive about what it is that we're going to continue to offer, with the opportunity to be, again, like I said, a little bit more risky, start to take a bit more risks, start to be okay with the fact that if it didn't work, that we can wind it back again, because we know what zero looks like, and we know that it will work for us. And then if we turn something back on, that will work for our community and for our team members, well, then we'll do it as well. So I think 2021 is definitely a bigger focus on just adapting to the change, and the change that our community needs, both our membership, talking about our membership base, but also our community being our people as well, and what it is that they need. So there's a huge focus there. So it's actually very exciting. I'm excited when it comes to rebuilding who we are, who our people are, and what it is that we offer. One of our things is rebuilding our service culture, because if you look around, like I said, we all offer the same thing. We all have food, we all have beverage, we all have gaming, across all of our clubs. But what makes us unique, and I believe it's our people that make us unique. I believe that it's the service that they provide, and again, it's the reason why they work for us. And so I really want to really honor that and give back to our community, knowing that our people are the best in what it is that they do and offer.
Yeah. So just as we round off today, it's really been fascinating hearing about you at this pointy end, and the pointy end of industry that was impacted by COVID.
Yeah.
You're talking about 1,000 people walking into the premises, 50 huge scale differences. What I've learned today is bring things back down to the base, to the core, add just a little bit, test it, and so on. It's very clear from Karen that Karen herself and the organisation she's part of in Canterbury Helston Park RSL Group has a real heart for its community, its heart for its members, its heart for its staff. And what we're hearing really is a really interesting story and insight into what it's like to be working within the RSL side of things. So before we wrap, if you don't mind, I'm going to make a quick little plug because around career stuff, yes, we have been working with each other on the support of people who have been let go, but I am personally proud of some stuff that I've done myself. If you don't, I've got my new book, Career Clarity, my other book called Career Success. That's when you get a job, and how to get a job, career networking. All those three are now hot off the press. So
yes, so good.
I'm very excited. It's like giving birth to a new kid. It's about 9 months per book. So there's 27 plus months worth of gestation in each of those things. Karen, I did want to just say thank you. It's been an absolute delight. One, working with you before this podcast, but two is really being able to have our relaxed fireside chat together. Although it is getting into summer when no one has firesides anymore.
No.
Okay. Anything more about the group? We're going to leave in the show notes so people can really understand more about the organisation and becoming a member.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
Look, again, we've diversified our offer to go beyond just being an RSL club. Like I said, we've gone into the recreational space as well. So again, very, very proud of what it is that we offer to our community, not just here locally, but also through our other clubs. And look, training, being the learning and organizational development manager or the head of HR, and the fact that I've been given every single opportunity here to learn and grow, we take a lot of pride in knowing that we offer that to our people and to the public as well. So our registered training organization is something that, again, very proud of. We've had that since 1999, where we've worked with other clubs just like us, as well as other schools and community groups, where we've been able to give them that new lease of life for those especially who are unemployed, and just giving them some confidence back through training. And that's something, again, that we're really proud of and happy to share some information about what it is that we offer and what it is that we're able to provide for any person or group or business looking to develop professionally as well as personally. So definitely happy to share that information as well.
Lovely. And so the RTO side as well will be in the show notes. Karen, I want to thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Start Strong, Finish Strong podcast. If you enjoyed listening, please like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Share the podcast with your teams, and of course, we'd love you to leave a comment or review.